What's up guys, it's Dwayne, back again for another video, back in for the reaction, and today is an amazing, wonderful, beautiful day. Do you know why? Because it's another Sweden day. 5 weird things that Swedes do. Don't tell my family about. Okay, without further ado, let's get into this.
What's up guys? So for the most part, being an American living in Sweden, like Americans and Swedes, we have a lot in common, but after having lived
Do you?
here for over a year now, I've noticed that there are some things that people in Sweden do that are just a little bit weird for me. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the top 5
This is going to be interesting, weird things that you do. I don't know if they'll, I reckon there might be 1 or 2 I will agree with, but I feel like the majority is probably going to be a lot of the stuff that British people do as well, but let's see.
The first thing that I think is just a little bit weird is that a lot of times Swedes will avoid eye contact with their neighbors. Now this is different depending on where you live in Sweden and who your neighbors are, because I know some Swedes that have great...
I think that's the same in the UK, especially if you live in like apartment complex. We tend to be a bit weird with like saying hello to neighbors. If you live in London especially, the more north you go in England, the less it's like that, but yeah.
Great relationships with their neighbors as well, but in a lot of cases, Swedes actually, avoid their neighbors. And here, I've lived in this place for like 15 months, and I'm not really super close with any of our neighbors that live in this apartment complex. Like, sure, if I see them, I'll say hi to them, but it's not like a lot of places in America where they have tight-knit communities with their neighbors and their people that live close by to them. And this especially sticks out to me, not where I'm from, but like in the Midwest. People in the Midwest are like extremely friendly. Like when I go to visit my cousins.
Oh, it's from the Midwest, that's why.
In Nebraska, they know all their neighbors and they have neighborhood barbecues and parties together. And like if a family member from one family gets sick, all the people in the neighborhood will get together to help that person.
I shouldn't feel like that. I shouldn't feel like that's weird. But I'm like, oh my God, what, you guys have barbecues together and you like get involved if someone's sick? That's really weird. Like, why are you so friendly with each other? That's the first thing that came to my mind, was like, that's weird. But it shouldn't be weird. That's actually really nice. Like, imagine being sick and then your whole neighborhood wanting to help you. That's amazing.
And so that's a really, really cool vibe that people are so open, friendly in some of those communities. I would say in Sweden, this pretty much is not the case. Typically, the neighbors, they don't go out of their way to talk to each other a whole lot. And, they actually kind of avoid each other.
What are you doing, by the way?
Making sure there's no neighbor outside.
And you think that's normal?
Okay, now.
I'm laughing because I completely relate. I know that's I relate. Maybe that's not normal, but I relate. I'm like that's so weird. I just heard my neighbor just then. Listen, I do the same thing. If I hear like the door open and one of my neighbors comes out, I'm like, okay, well, let me wait a little bit. Let me wait for them to get into the lift, and then I'll leave, just to avoid having like weird small talk. Do you know? It's really weird. You don't want to start talking about the weather with your neighbor for no reason, unless they're very attractive and you're like wanting to bump into them. There's no reason.
It's not that Swedes are rude, it's just a different culture here. They do keep to themselves a lot more, and that can take some getting used to from people who come from different cultures where people are a lot more open.
Isn't that the whole point of having neighbors, is to meet them?
No, the whole point of having neighbors is to fill the other apartments in the building.
Oh, here we go. Hello, my name is Bruce, and this is my girlfriend Emma. We just, I moved into the building. Okay. We'll see you around. I think we're in floor 2. But...
The second weird...
That is so funny.
Weird thing that Swedes do is put ketchup on their pasta. Now I gotta admit, I'm actually guilty of this now that I've lived here for like 15 months. Like, I've done this.
Oh, I don't know about that. Ketchup on your pasta?
Several times now. I'm kind of used to it. Like, they'll make macaroni noodles and meatballs and have ketchup there. But, like, don't tell my Italian grandparents that I do this, because I think they would have a fit if they knew that I was eating ketchup with pasta. The first few times I saw this, I thought it was extremely weird and pretty disrespectful to the pasta, to be honest.
Somebody touch my spaghetti!
Growing up with amazing Italian food back at home, like, it is kind of weird to me still, but it is kind of convenient if you want a quick meal. You know, it works, and it is just something that they do here in Sweden. Okay. Now, while we're on the topic of food, a few other things that Swedes do that I just think is a little bit weird is they will use like a fork and a knife for everything, whether they're eating pizza, hamburgers. I've seen people...
Fork and a knife for everything. Yeah, I mean, apart from a burger, you don't use a fork and a knife for a burger, do you? That's a bit weird. Pizza, yeah, fork and a knife. Sometimes I use a fork and a knife for a pizza because I just want to eat it with a fork and a knife.
Several times eat their hamburgers with a fork and knife. Now,
oh my God, I just asked that question. Guys, come on now. Do you eat? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you eat your hamburger with a fork and a knife? Oh no, actually, I have had a hamburger with a fork and a knife, but it's because the burger was so big. It was like a 2-patty like burger, and like it's too messy to pick up. So I have done, but for the most part, if I can pick up a burger, that's how you should eat it, really.
This I have never seen in America. And also, like, when you buy pizza in America, it usually comes pre-sliced, where in Sweden, a lot of times people will cut their pizza with a fork and a knife.
I've heard.
Or if you make pizza at home, sometimes they'll even use like regular scissors to cut their pizza. I've never even seen that before in America. Pretty much we only use like pizza slicers, and everything's get pre-sliced. If you were at a restaurant or something and you order a pizza, it pretty much always comes sliced, so it's easy to just grab it and eat it slice by slice. And also, to that point, I noticed that people don't really eat food when they're on the go as much as they do in America either.
Because eating's like a social thing in Sweden, right? With fika.
I think a lot of that has to go back to like the fika culture that they have in Sweden, where people like to take a break, relax, and sit down and enjoy a coffee or a snack or whatever it is they're going to be eating. And a lot of times in America, people are so on the go and in a rush to go to the next place and do the next thing, and just so busy all the time that it's not uncommon to see people eating while they're walking down the street. And I also do this in Sweden. I'll just buy a protein bar on the go and eat it. You see people in the movies that will be in New York and they go eat a hot dog from the local hot dog stand, and they're just eating it on their way to the next meeting or something. I mean, that's just kind of how it is in America. There's a lot of like takeout food, you know, fast.
It's because they're always in a rush. Like they're like go, 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 work. They don't even take any vacation or holiday off. That's why.
Food on the go, and you can just kind of eat on the run, whereas in Sweden people relax a little bit more. And maybe that is related to like the fork and knife culture, because when you're on the go you can't really eat with a fork and knife. I mean, that'd be really tough. Have my little plate and cutting while I'm like, nah, I just don't think that's gonna work. The fourth thing that strikes me a little bit odd about Sweden is that a lot of times people in Sweden will actually have kids before they get married. And no, I'm not talking.
First time I've heard this one. You guys have kids before you're married. Why? There's no judgment on that. Like, we're not, I guess you're not, do you know what? Maybe it's because you're not a Christian nation. Like, America's like very religious. Having kids before marriage is frowned upon. Whereas I'm guessing Sweden's quite secular. There's not a lot of atheists. They're not really bothered about whether you have kids before you get married or not. Maybe that's why.
Talking about like on accident. A lot of times people will just do this, and it's not something weird here in Sweden, where in America this is really, really uncommon for people to start a family before being in a marriage. But here in Sweden, marriage isn't as big of a deal as it is in America. Actually, like if I were to marry a Swedish girl, it wouldn't have any repercussions for my permits and things like that. Basically in Sweden, you can become a sambo, which just means like you're a registered partner living with the other person. And basically in the eyes of the government and the migration office, being a sambo is just the same as being married. So you don't even have to be.
Yeah, we have a similar thing. What is it called? It's called a What's it called? It's called statutory, something like that. Statutory. There's a word for it. If I remember the word, I will put it on the link. We have something similar in the UK where you're basically seen as that person's partner if you've been living with that person for a certain amount of time.
Be married to get all the same benefits basically as being a sambo. So I think in general, people in Sweden get married a lot later than they do in America. Like I've got friends in America who are already getting married, and in Sweden, people wait.
Common law. Yeah, they're seen as your common law husband or common law wife if you've been together for a certain amount of time. God, I drew a blank there.
A lot longer. They'll wait till their late 20s, early 30s a lot of times to actually get married, which is a big difference in the culture. And I think that's totally fine. Like I myself personally am not looking to get married for quite a long time. I have a lot of goals and things that I want to accomplish before starting a family. But in America, things kind of happen in a certain order a lot of times. Like you meet a girl, you settle down, you get a good job, you get married, and then you look into having kids and starting a family. Where here in Sweden, because marriage isn't as big of a deal, sometimes you'll just be with a person for a long time and decide that, hey, you want to have kids. And it's not necessarily weird to have kids before marriage, which in America, that's not common at all. And the last thing that I think is just a little bit weird here in Sweden is the TV tax that they have. In Sweden, if you own...
Wow, you guys have TV tax. I thought that was something weird and unique to the UK. We also have TV tax, although we don't call it TV tax, we call it the TV license. Yes, you need a license to have a TV. It's annoying. And you can pay it annually, or I think you can pay it monthly, but no one pays it monthly. I don't think it's not like a huge amount. I think it's like I want to say it's like £110 or something like that for the year. Could be wrong. I might be making that up, but interesting.
Own a TV, people will actually come to your house and see if you have a TV.
Yeah.
And then if you do have a TV, you actually have to pay a special additional tax on it. And now that we're living in 2018, almost 2019, that sounds crazy to say.
This is quite old.
I feel like 99% of people are going to have TVs. So why not just tax everybody? I think it's just kind of weird that people have to like come to your door and check if you have a TV or not. And even if you don't have a TV, I mean, in my personal situation, I don't watch a lot of TV, but I've got an iPad, I've got an iPhone, I've got a laptop, and I'm connected in this digital world just like everybody else. I think it's kind of odd to have people calling you up and coming to your house to see if you have a TV, because at the end of the day, does it really matter if you have a TV or not, as long as you're connected some way? I mean, pretty much everybody's connected in some way. So I just think that one is a little bit weird as well, especially in a country that already has so many different taxes and different rules. Why not just make it uniform?
Yeah, it's very, very strange. TV license, TV taxes, it's very strange. I think it's something that the UK will at some point get rid of. There's so many people that don't pay the TV license in the UK, so yeah. So
with that being said, guys, those are 5 things that I think are a little bit weird about living in Sweden and Swedish people in general. If you have not subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next video.
That was really interesting. It was a great video. There's quite a few things that were a bit different from what I've heard before. I didn't know that you had TV license like us though. That's really interesting. I thought that was very much a UK phenomena. Let's get rid of the TV license. It's just very silly. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Until the next one, I'll see you later.